Welcome back, Maverick family. If this is your first time here, I am MC and this is the Maverick Conservative. Let's go ahead and get into the news. Chicago residents shred local politicians over plans to house illegal immigrants at closed high school. That is absolutely crazy. But I'm going to tell you something that's even crazier than that is that you haven't hit the like button yet. Guys, listen, if you've been enjoying this content, go ahead and hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything. Let's continue with the news. Chicago residents condemned local leadership last week for plans to house illegal immigrants in a shuttered high school in the neighborhood. Chicago is one of many cities overwhelmed by illegal immigrants seeking asylum amid crisis at America's southern border. During a May 4th community meeting at South Shore International College Preparatory High School, local residents expressed their outrage at the proposal of housing hundreds of migrants in an already struggling area. Now, the thing about this, to be honest with you, is I believe Chicago at one point in time actually said with the outgoing mayor Lightfoot that Chicago was a sanctuary city. Right. So in this case, you're actually getting what you're voting for. Right. You wanted Chicago to be a sanctuary city, a home for all migrants. All right. Or illegal immigrants. Well, here they are. They're right on your front door. What's important that we really establish is that this is a humanitarian crisis and we are here. Chicago Chief Engagement Officer Nubia Williams said as the crowd jeered in opposition. Again, you voted for this, right? When you ousted Lightfoot, right, for the new mayor-elect Johnson, right, who's actually way more progressive than Lightfoot was, in my humble opinion, right? You actually pushed for this type of policy to happen. You may have not thought that you did, but you did. This is what you voted for, right? This is what you get for not paying attention, right? I'm not going to say I'm glad that this is happening, right? But, it's really unfortunate that this is happening to you because you voted for this. When it comes to the total number of people at South Shore at any given point in time, it's fluid. A local leader told the audience, we should start with 250 to 500. The audience could be heard yelling in response. How could you do that without consulting us? ABC 7 footage showed Executive Director of Constitutional Policing, Tina Stagg, announcing that the police will be stationed to oversee the migrants at this facility 24 hours a day. ABC 7 itself observed, however, that those are exactly the kind of services Southside residents say they have begged for and have been denied. I don't really think that's true, quite honestly, because from what I understand, Chicago was part of this whole defund the police movement. Right, Lightfoot and all of them, they were talking about defunding the police, right? So I don't really see how this is playing into that narrative that they've been asking for policing when they are voting for people who want to defund the police. All right, I actually got a video of all of this madness. Let's go ahead and get into the video.
It is insulting that you would consider such action about a forgotten community that none of you live in.
Developing tonight, outbursts and outrage at a community meeting in South Shore over a housing plan for migrants.
The debate comes as the city deals with the crisis of where to put migrants bussed in from the border.
Elizabeth Matthews is live now with more. Elizabeth.
Corey and Don, contentious to say the least. This forum was a chance for city leaders to get input from the public about the old South Shore High School housing migrants. The city got their input.
A packed house at the South Shore International College Prep High School. The crowd voicing their opinion, strongly opposing the addition of migrants in their community.
I am just outraged. I'm outraged, and I don't understand why our community was chosen.
City representatives saying the old South Shore High School would not be a shelter, but one of 3 respite centers for the migrants to temporarily sleep, eat, and take a shower, starting with about 250 people taking up the building's first floor. This is a way for the city to get the current 300 migrants out of the police stations. Questions were asked, but answers hard to hear, interrupted by the upset crowd.
What's actually sad about this also is that there have been reports that the people in this community were actually asking for this building to be repurposed for some type of use, or some like a community center, or resources to be allocated to make this building something that the local residents could actually use to possibly get some of the youth off the streets, something positive for the community. But those cries were actually being denied, and instead they're choosing to do something something like this. A slap in the face to the people who actually live there and, that wanted some help provided to them in communities. But at the same time, this is actually your fault because you voted for this, right? You didn't pay attention, right? You went with a candidate that is extremely progressive with Johnson, who clearly doesn't care about you, but you still voted for him anyway, right? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Before the meeting, a small protest of South Shore neighbors demanding the energy put into the migrant issue be put into their neighborhoods.
It is a slap in the face that we as citizens of the United States of America do not have the resources and support, but you're going to bring people who are not citizens here in our community, in our buildings that we pay taxes for, that you took away from us.
Last I heard, she actually agreed with my sentiments before she just said that. But last I heard, all right, people who make statements like that are racist, right? Isn't that what you say, right? If you feel like, resources here in America should be spent on the people who actually pay taxes to receive those resources, right? If you make statements like that, then you're a racist, all right, and a bigot, right? And so you don't like people from other countries. Right. So it's interesting to hear somebody from the left actually say this. And I'm willing to bet my left testicle that as passionate as she is right now about what she just stated, that she is probably one of the hundreds of thousands of people who voted for Johnson and Lightfoot, and a direct result of why you're in this situation right now.
Yeah. That is completely unacceptable. We are in a humanitarian crisis right now. The Black people in Chicago are bleeding on the streets.
Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson had this to say about the migrant crisis.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, that they are not just welcome, but they are serviced
with your tax dollars. Man, I'm gonna go ahead and get into my final thoughts. If you want to watch the rest of the video, I'm gonna leave it down in the resource section. Have you stopped to consider the implications of Mayor Johnson's recent decision to back the city on spending tax dollars on providing housing for illegal immigrants, despite the protests from the local predominantly Black community? This decision not only goes against the interest of the hardworking taxpayers of that local community, but it also sets a very dangerous precedence for the allocations of public funds. Shouldn't the local community be the top priority when it comes to allocating funds, especially when those funds are coming from the taxpayers of that local community? Yet Mayor Johnson has chosen to side with diverting these public funds from the very people who need them, the taxpayers, and instead provide housing for illegal immigrants. This decision not only neglects the needs of the local Black community in Chicago, but it also sends a very clear message that after we've obtained your vote, your voices and concerns can easily be disregarded. Aren't you tired yet? The Democratic Party has been neglecting the needs of Black Chicago residents since the 1930s. Take a look around at where you live at in Chicago. Has there been any policy set forth by any Democratic leadership that has advanced the socioeconomic opportunities for Black people in that city? Isn't it time for your elected officials to prioritize the needs of their constituents and create policies that directly benefit the members of the local community? If you answered yes to that question, then that's a great start. But let me level set you. It's never going to happen with any Democratic elected official. The bottom line is this: as citizens, we hold the power to make change. And that is why I'm urging for every Black person in the United States to leave the Democratic plantation. But those are just my thoughts. Maverick family, I want to hear yours. Make sure you leave a comment right below in this comment section. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's the only way to force YouTube's algorithm to push this content out to other like-minded individuals. And lastly, as always, don't forget to tell a friend to tell two friends about the Maverick Conservative.